All right, welcome back, COSA 50 Web. Professor Almeida here. Happy Thursday, everyone. And because it's Thursday, that means I'm in the Canvas course chat until noon Pacific time today. So feel free to drop into the chat if you have questions, or you can message me privately in the Canvas inbox, and I'll be more likely to respond during my student office hours. Coming up, we're going to talk about weeks 11 and 12, your Excel and Access capstone projects and GMetrix MOS prep. If you could believe it, this is going to be the final announcement video, and we're just about at the end of the course. So thanks for sticking around, making it almost all the way to the end here. Let's sprint to the finish line. There's a lot to talk about in this video, so let's just go ahead and dive into Canvas for one last time. And I want to start with your Access assignments from weeks 9 and 10. They are due this Sunday, the 18th. Please don't leave points on the table, especially this late in the game. If you haven't started on your Access assignments, and there are some of you who haven't done that, you need to get caught up right away. There is a lot to take in and work through, especially with chapters 2 and 3. So please give yourself plenty of time. As before, training sims do need to be turned in on time. You cannot go back for late credit. And if you're late with projects and exams, they will be accepted with a 10% per day score reduction. SAM automatically calculates the late penalty, but you can't afford late penalties this late in the game, especially with the work you have for weeks 11 and 12. Now, remember, this is a compressed COSA 50 class. We've had to cut out 4 weeks. We did that with TFS, and now we're doing that with weeks 11 and 12. So starting on Monday, May 19th, weeks 11 and 12 will open up and be available to you. It's the same formula for both with Excel and Access. You have a capstone project, and then you have GMetrix MOS prep. Let's start with the capstone. So again, for Excel and Access, you have capstone projects. These capstones, along with your GMetrix MOS prep, serve as your finals in the class. So you have to show what you know here with the capstones. There's no walkthrough video, and if you reach out to COS tech support, they will not help you with questions about the capstones. Okay, the capstones are just like the individual chapter projects you've been working on. You get 3 attempts as usual, but this time with Excel, all 3 chapters are covered in one project, and with Access, you really want to give yourself enough time, because as you saw with chapters 2 and 3, it gets intense. You can expect the same amount of intensity with Access, and again, it covers all 3 chapters. So give yourself enough time, do your best. You do have your past project instructions, you have the walkthrough videos, you have your training sims, and if you scroll back to the top here, you have your ebook to help you along. So with that, good luck on your capstones. They are due on the last day of the course, so make sure that you give yourself plenty of time. And also too, with GMetrix, because this is where we fill in the gaps, especially if you're thinking about going for the MOS. Now, I will have a separate announcement concerning MOS certification and also what this SLO assessment is all about. So stay tuned for that. Let's spend the rest of this video talking about the MOS with GMetrix. Now, I have this page here on how to use GMetrix along with a separate video, but I'm going to quickly show you the gist of GMetrix. And for that, I need my Windows virtual machine here. You can see that I have GMetrix SMS installed. So if you're working at home on your Windows PC, make sure that you can install GMetrix SMS. Now, to get to GMetrix, it's gmetrix.net, where you can create a free account. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Use an email address that you check most often. And once you're in, this is what the dashboard looks like. 2 things to do. First, redeem the access code. You can find this on our Canvas class homepage. So when you're at the Canvas dashboard, you click on COSA 50, you see that homepage, scroll on down for the access code, and all you have to do is just copy and paste it into the box. Now, I don't have control over GMetrix. And this includes accounts, access codes, the exams themselves. If you're running into issues with your GMetrix account or redeeming the access code, reach out to COS Tech Support and they should be able to assist you. Now, as far as the exams go, COS Tech Support can't help you with the GMetrix exams in the same way they can't help you with the capstones. So again, do your best, and I'll show you a couple of things when we get into the practice exams. All right, so there's that. Second thing you need to do, download and install GMetrix SMS. Take a moment to do this before launching your first exam. And again, you do need to have a Windows PC for this. All right, so for Excel, we are using Excel 365 here, MO-210. And for this one, you're going to choose from one of these three practice exams. Now, I'm not going to show the exam environment just yet because I do have the Access exam launched, and I'll take you through what the exam environment looks like. But for Excel, you have these three practice exams. Just choose one of them. And real quick, just to show you here, you want to switch over to training mode because in testing mode, you have a 15-minute timer. And if you get stuck on something, you won't be able to get help. With this, in training mode, there is no time limit. And if you get stuck on a task, you can click the help button to reveal step-by-step instructions. Now, keep in mind that we only covered 3 chapters of Excel in this class, and you're going to see things that weren't covered before. This is a chance for you to practice because I can just about guarantee that whatever you see on these practice exams is fair game for the MOS. Okay. When you are done practicing, you know, let's say you're on the home page here in GMetrix, come on back to Excel 365. And then next to the practice exam you're working on, you should see a 3-dot menu, and this is where you can access your score report. Okay, this is where you can access the score report, and this is what it looks like. Okay, make sure your name matches what officially appears on the roster. You can see here Excel 365 practice exam, and it's 1, 2, or 3. You don't need to do all 3. Just give me one of them. Not to brag, I scored 1,000. And you're going to turn in this score report to Canvas. So here's how it works. Click on this printer icon to the right. Change your printer to save as PDF. Take a moment, look at the preview here, and then you're going to save this locally, probably in your downloads folder, and you're going to turn it in to Canvas. And you can see here's where you turn it in. This is the Excel GMetrix MOS practice assignment. And you'll see a big red button here. Read through the instructions carefully. Now, I tend to grade the score reports as they come in. So if you don't see a score, check the assignment comments. And I'm just looking for a passing score of 700 or better. It doesn't need to be 1,000. As long as it's 700 or better, you will earn full credit for this assignment. All right, let's take a look at Access, and I'll give you a tour of the environment here. Now for Access, Microsoft and Certiport have not come up with a recent MOS exam. So for Access, we are back on 2019 here, MO-500. Here it is, Access Expert 2019. And you'll see that there's only one practice exam. And as before, you have training and testing modes. Start in training mode. And this is where you don't have a time limit. You can get step-by-step instructions. Let me back up because I do have an exam open here. So I'll go ahead and launch that. You'll see how it works. And if you're prompted, hit the start button to download test resources. And again, you want to make sure that you have GMetrix SMS installed because that's going to launch. And you can see it's preparing the exam here. So while the exam is launching, you can see here is the Canvas assignment for Access. As before, read through the instructions. You'll see a red button where you can submit your score reports. And let's check back, see if this is launched. Here we go. So this is what the environment looks like in GMetrix. It closely replicates the MOS. You have 7 projects to work on. You can see them on project number 2 here. They give you an overview of each project. Okay, they give you an overview of each project here. So here's the scenario, and here are the individual tasks. Now, you saw earlier that the exam has 35 questions. This is what they mean by 35 questions, right? You have these tasks to complete for each project. And if you get stuck, hit the help button, right? You'll see step-by-step instructions. And again, keep in mind for both Excel and Access, we've only covered 3 chapters. You're going to see things that are new to you. And I can almost guarantee that this is what's going to show up on the MOS. As you're working through the tasks, make sure to mark them as completed as a checklist for you, or mark for review if you're not sure about something. If you need to walk away, you can save the project. It will stop the timer. You can save the project and come back to it. When you do resume the test, go back, check the other tasks, make sure that they're actually completed. What I would do before taking a break, finish through the project, grade it, and then that's where you can save and exit out. And then that way you can come back and not have to worry about which tasks you were left off at. Now, if you get hung up on a certain task, especially when you go to grade and you keep getting a task wrong, just mark it for review, finish the exam, come back to it later. I see this happen a lot with folks when they go to take the MOS. You know, they get hung up on a task, they freeze, they don't know what to do, and they're losing time. So if you're not sure about something, just mark it for review, finish the rest of the exam, come back to it, especially if you're in testing mode or if you're actually taking the MOS. Speaking of the MOS, look for a separate announcement on that. And I do have a bonus if you can score 850 or better in testing mode. So again, look for details about taking the MOS and the special deal in a separate announcement. All right. With Access, there are some things you need to be aware of. First of all, you need to enable content for every project, and there might be some unclear instructions. You know, there might be some issues here and there. Again, do your best. I have no control over the exam. Again, I'm just looking for a 700 or better. So I'm going to go ahead and save out of this. When you are done with the exam, okay, so let me actually, you know what, let me just go here. When you are done with the exam, come on back to Access 2019. Okay, here's the 3-dot menu next to the practice exam. Again, there's only one practice exam for Access here. This is the score report. Okay, and again, to turn it in, hit the printer icon, save as PDF, save it locally, probably your downloads folder, and then you go to turn it in Canvas. Here's the GMetrix assignment for Access. And as before, read through the instructions carefully. And I hope that this makes sense, but you really want to give yourself enough time because there isn't a whole lot of time left. Your capstones and your GMetrix score results are due on the last day of the course. And with that, it has been a pleasure. I wish you well on your future endeavors. My final student office hours are going to be in week 12. So again, Mondays in person, 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. in the COS Computer Lab in M229. Thursdays in the Canvas course chat. And take care of yourselves out there. Let's get through this. Let's finish strong. And thanks for watching. Good luck, folks.